What's up, Rich Squad? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy, Dominic Rich. Guys, as you can tell from the title, in today's video, I want to talk about a topic no one's really talking about right now, and it's the EPL relegation. Relegation. 3 teams will be relegated from the English Premier League this season, and 3 teams will come up from the championship for next season. So I just want to talk a bit about the 3 teams that will get relegated this season. 2 teams are already relegated while the 3rd spot is still vacant, but one team is kind of falling into that place. But before I go into all of that, let's actually look back in time all the way to the 2014-15 season and just, recap the teams that got relegated, back then. So in the 2014-15 season, that season, Chelsea were champions, Man City came in 2nd, Arsenal 3rd, and Man United 4th. But at the back end of the table, we saw Aston Villa coming in 17th, barely missing out on relegation. They got 38 points, so they were safe with 38 points. Hull City got relegated with 35 points in 18th. Burnley, guys, yes, Burnley got relegated with 33 points. And Queen's Park Rangers relegated with 30 points. So let's fast forward to the 2015-16 season. That was a memorable season because we could remember Leicester City won the title. And they were facing relegation a few seasons before as well. So it was a remarkable achievement by, the Foxes there. They won the title with 81 points, 10 points ahead of 2nd place Arsenal. 3rd was Tottenham and 4th Manchester City. But at the back end of the table, Newcastle got relegated at 18th. But Sunderland came in 17th with 39 points. Newcastle got relegated with 37 points. Norwich City relegated with 34 points. And Aston Villa at the bottom of the table with a paltry 17 points, guys. So those were the teams relegated in the 2015-16 season. Fast forward to the 2016-17. Chelsea were champions. They got 93 points. Tottenham came in 2nd with 86. Man City 3rd and Liverpool 4th. This is the first time Liverpool have been mentioned in the top 4, by the way. So Liverpool 4th there. 17th, Watford. They got 40 points. But that was 6 points ahead of Hull City. Middlesbrough got relegated as well. And Sunderland. I could actually remember following this season very closely. I did not make a lot of videos on YouTube that season. I think that was the, the season I started actually making videos on YouTube at the back end of that season. I can remember making the video about Chelsea winning the title. So let's fast forward to last season. Man City were the champions with 100 points, of course, 19 points ahead of Man United. Tottenham 3rd and Liverpool 4th. At the back end of the table, Southampton, they, were 17th with 36 points. Swansea City got relegated with 33. Stoke got relegated at 33. And West Bromwich Albion relegated as well with 31. So now we're actually into the current season, the 2018-19 season, where Liverpool are currently on top of the table with 79 points, 32 matches played. Man City 2nd, 77 points with 31 matches played. Arsenal 3rd, 63 points, and Tottenham 4th, 61 points. We also have Man United and Chelsea also, looking to gain, top 4 positions. Between 6th and 7th, the point gap is 16 points. So Wolves, Leicester City, Everton, Watford, West Ham, Bournemouth, all these teams are like way behind the top 6 positions. But from, let's say, West Ham with 42 points, they should be considered safe. And Bournemouth, 38 points, they should be considered safe. We haven't seen any teams got relegated with 38 points, so far. So Crystal Palace now, they actually have 36 points, and their form has been a little patchy. A win, a loss, a win, a loss. That's how their form has been as of late. But they have 36 points, 7 matches to go. I expect Crystal Palace to survive. Remember last season they lost their first 7 games, I think. And, they sacked their coach. It was De Boer. Brought in Roy Hodgson, and he has been doing a pretty decent job with the team so far. Newcastle, under Rafa Benitez, remember, they came up the season, was it? Newcastle came up a lot. Newcastle came up the season before, I think. It was Fulham, Cardiff, and Wolves. Yes, Newcastle came up the season before, and they're currently on 35 points. So Rafa Benitez, he needs results to get over that 40-point mark where, that is considered safety. Their form as of late has been a loss, a draw, a win, a loss, and a win. Not bad at all, but 2 wins in 5 is not good enough. But I expect Newcastle to scrape over the line. Still 6 games to go, but we never know. 35 points. Now, I think Newcastle and Crystal Palace should be safe. But from 15th to 20th, relegation candidates right there. But before I talk more about who will be the 3rd team to get relegated, let's just mention that Huddersfield Town are already relegated. 14 points with 6 matches to go. 6 by 3, 18. That means 18 points plus 14 points. They can only get a maximum of 32 points, which leaves them outside of the relegation zone still. So Huddersfield Town officially relegated. Remember their coach, David Wagner, brought them up last season with a negative goal difference. They won, I think it was against Reading, I think, in the playoffs. And it was a penalty shootout. They came to the Premier League. They barely survived last season. The goal scoring record wasn't good as well. And this season, they just couldn't hold up, Wagner was sacked early on in the season. Jan Siewert took over. And he wasn't able to do anything at all to turn around the club's fortunes. And they have already came to grips with their relegation a long time ago. It's so sad, but, Huddersfield Town, I think, wasn't ready for the Premier League at all. They weren't playing Premier League level football at all. The quality of players they have in their team was not, up to that high standard, to compete against, the Big Six, especially when they play the Big Six. If you're not taking points off the Big Six, you will always, struggle throughout the season. Then, we have Fulham. Fulham, I expected big things of Fulham, after having a really impressive season last year in the championship. They got promoted, and then they spent a lot in the summer transfer window, bringing in the likes of Zambo Anguissa, Michel Seri. They brought in Andrew Schürrle, just to name a few of their big money signings. I'm probably missing a few names as well. And they have been horrible this season, Slavica Jukanovic was at the helm of the club. He got sacked earlier. They brought in Premier League winner Ranieri, and Claudio Ranieri, and he was sacked really, really fast. He was sacked, and now we have, I think, Scott Parker at the helm, and he was a former player. I think he was a player coach at one time, if I could recall. And he hasn't been able to turn around the fortunes of the club at all. They have lost their last 5 games. I think they have lost their last 8 games. They have just been very, very, very unfortunate this season, But they weren't ready for the Premier League, I can say. We expected big things of them, but in the end, their signings proved that it didn't work out. The signings didn't work out. Everything just went, downhill for Fulham. So that's, I think sometimes, even if early on in the season, if the manager is struggling, you give him a chance to catch himself, to catch his breath, he could turn things around. But Jukanovic was never, ever, given the chance to do so. And Fulham, 17 points. They could only get a maximum of 35 points. So they are not, let's say they are not yet relegated, but come on. Fulham losing their last 7 to 8 games, they are not going to win their final 6. You know, if you go into who they're playing in their final 6 matches, they play Watford tomorrow. Watford has been in great form this season. Let's say goodish form this season. Then they play Everton. 2 teams they can beat, but I don't think it's going to happen. They play Bournemouth, Cardiff, Wolves, and Newcastle. So if you look at their fixtures, all 6 teams are beatable. All 6 teams are beatable. They have no top 6 teams to play. And they could win all 6 and survive, like barely. But it's very, very, very unlikely because they can only get a maximum of 35 points. So it's fair to say that Fulham, they will be relegated. The big, big, big debate is who will be the 3rd team relegated because it's still very close. Cardiff, 28 points. Burnley, 33 points. Southampton, 33 points. Brighton, 33 points. And Newcastle, 35 points. You could also throw Crystal Palace with 36 points in there. But I think Newcastle and Crystal Palace will be safe. You know, maybe. Let's just say maybe. But let's talk about Brighton, Southampton, Burnley, and Cardiff City. Firstly, Cardiff City, 28 points. 5 points behind the bunch. 5 points, guys. In their last 5 games, they have only taken 3 points. Cardiff has been the most unluckiest. Well, most unluckiest. They have been the unluckiest team this season by far. You know, I just saw a game between themselves and Chelsea. They were winning up until like the 84th minute or so. And then, you know, Chelsea scored an offside goal. He was offside by 2 yards. Aspilicueta, the referee, the linesman, let's say the linesman did not catch it. I don't know how he didn't catch it. He was miles offside. The goal stood. And then Chelsea scored again through, you know, Loftus-Cheek late in the end there when he just overpowered, you know, the Cardiff defender to score late and steal all 3 points. Chelsea did not deserve to pick up a single point from that game. Cardiff deserved the 3 points. They would have gone up to 31 points and they would have still been in reach of the, Burnley, Southampton, and Brighton. But now they're 5 points behind. Another big thing that happened to Cardiff City this season is that they signed Emiliano Sala, God rest his soul, and his tragic death happened. So you sign him, your biggest ever signing, big money signing. I think it was like £15 million from Nantes. Salah was having a really, really good season in Ligue 1. And he went back to say goodbye to his, peers over there at Nantes. Flew back on a small, plane. And he got lost across the channel there between France and England, on his way back to Wales, I should say. And that was it. That was it. They weren't able to, sign another player. I can't remember if Oumar Niasse came in through the January transfer window, but come on, Niasse wasn't gonna, let's say rectify your goal scoring woes because he hasn't proven himself as a goal scorer at Everton. Let's just say that. He was struggling for game time over there. That's why he is on loan at Cardiff City. So Emiliano Sala could have been, the difference maker at Cardiff. We never know. Rest in peace, Salah. I was really excited to see, the transfer happen because I used to, watch a lot of league on replays and he always used to score. He's a natural goal scorer. Uncapped by Argentina, but still he was a natural goal scorer. And Cardiff, very, 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 very unfortunate to miss out on his expertise there. And they never recovered. They never recovered, since that whole tragedy. And sorry to say, they may get relegated. So Neil Warnock, he has done a good job with the team. It's not easy to play in the Premier League. But Cardiff, they haven't made the big signings, and maybe that's coming back to haunt them. Most of the team, I think, was, coming from the championship as well. So the Premier League is a very, 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 very harsh place to play. It's very, very tough, But 28 points, 5 points behind the bunch, I can't see them, recovering from this slump right now. So their next games are against Manchester City, guys. My team away. Come on, guys. City has been phenomenal this season, following up their 100-point season. They are second behind Liverpool. They have won their last 5 games in the Premier League. They're in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. They're in the semi-final of the FA Cup. They already won the EFL Cup. They won the Community Shield. They have been awesome, awesome, even though their depth have been stretched, to the fullest extent this season. So I don't think Cardiff is not going to win this game versus City. You never know, but I'm not going for a win. Then they play Burnley, a team who is also trying to fight off relegation. It's going to be a scrap. They're not going to pick up 3 points from that. That's another away match. Then they play Brighton, a team they could actually pick up points against. If I look back and see if they got points versus Brighton or Burnley this season, well, I'm going back. They actually defeated Brighton this season, so that's a good look. And they lost to Burnley. So let's say they pick up 4 points. Let's say they pick up 4 points in those 2 games. They will go up to 32 points. Then after that Brighton match, they have Liverpool. Guys, they're not winning that game. That's a home game. They're not winning that game. Then they have Fulham. That's a team they could actually beat. But Fulham will have nothing to lose. They will go all out, or they may experiment. Let's say they win versus Fulham. They pick up 3 points again. That's 35 points. Then they have Crystal Palace and Manchester United last. Cardiff could survive. Cardiff could survive. The fixtures are not that harsh. The Man United, Liverpool, and Man City fixtures are really harsh. But Brighton, Burnley, Fulham, and Crystal Palace, they could actually pick up points versus these teams. So Cardiff are still very much alive. If we go ahead and look at Burnley, Sean Dyche's Burnley, they have been very, very weird this season. 1 win, 4 losses in their last 5 games. They have only won 9 matches this season, losing 17. So they haven't been as good as they were last season when they placed 7th, I think. They started in Europa League qualifying, and it threw them off. I think it threw them off completely, at the beginning of the season. They probably thought they were going to play European football, and, they got a little ahead of themselves, and it threw them off. So, Burnley struggling this season. They haven't sacked their coach, at least not what I saw. Cardiff hasn't sacked their coach. Burnley didn't sack their coach. So they're sticking with Sean Dyche, who has done great things at Burnley. So Burnley has Bournemouth, Cardiff, Chelsea, Man City, Everton, Arsenal. It's some tough fixtures. Some really tough fixtures, but they can pick up points versus Bournemouth, Cardiff, let's say Everton, and maybe Arsenal. So Burnley could end up with around 38 points. Let's say 33 points now, 5 points from their last 6 matches. They won versus Wolves, so if they could continue that form, let's say they need to at least win 2 of these matches. They can beat Bournemouth. They can defeat, let's say a Cardiff. Everton, they could also topple Everton. Chelsea, Man City as well. I'm not going to count out any of this. Burnley is they're a very, very weird team, especially at home. Very, very tough. And they have, 3 home games left, 3 on the road. So I think Burnley will be safe. I'm going for safety for Burnley. Then we go to Southampton, guys. Southampton sacked their coach earlier this season. I think it was what was his name again? Was it Pellegrino? Was the coach early on in the season when he was sacked? I can't recall. No, it was Mark Hughes, man. Mark Hughes got sacked. Mark Hughes, You know, he saved them at the back end of last season, and they brought in Ralph Hasenhüttl, the former coach of, you know, RB Leipzig. He did big things with Leipzig. So for Southampton, they have been struggling again season after season. So their last 5 games, though, they have picked up 3 wins. So that's a good look for Southampton. Their last few fixtures, they have 7 games left. So that works in their favor. They have 7 games left. They have Liverpool. Oh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. They have Wolves. That's another tough one. Newcastle, also a tough one on the road. Watford, they have Bournemouth, West Ham, and Huddersfield. I think Southampton is going to be safe. Their last 4 fixtures is, you know, they're winnable. Their last 6 fixtures is winnable. Let's just say that. They're winnable. They've been in good form. I think Southampton, they're going to be safe. They will pick up at least 7 points from their last 7 fixtures. I'm going to go for Southampton safety again. Barely again. Now, we could talk about Brighton. 2 wins in their last 5, 3 losses. You know, Brighton. Brighton. A team that flies under the radar, you know. Brighton, they have some tough fixtures coming up. Really, really tough fixtures coming up. So, let's take a look at Brighton's fixtures. The last game was on Saturday. They lost 1-0 to Southampton. You know, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. He hardly scores though. And he was the goal scorer in that game. So for Brighton, Chris Hughton's team, their fixtures. Let's look at their last 7 fixtures. They have Chelsea away. That's a tough fixture. They have Man City in the semi-final. Well, that's not relevant. But let's see. They have Bournemouth, Cardiff, Wolves, Tottenham. They can definitely beat Tottenham. Newcastle, Arsenal. And then they play Man City on their final, you know, fixture. Brighton, they could pick up points versus Newcastle. So let's say they get 1 point versus Newcastle, a point versus Wolves. Let's say they defeat Cardiff, and that's 5 points already. They're 38, and they pick up a point versus Bournemouth, 39. I think Brighton will be safe. So the only big question is Cardiff City. They can survive, but I'm actually going for Cardiff to get relegated. It has just been a season of unfortunate events. And I think, you know, they're going to fall victim to all of that. And Neil Warnock's men are going to end back up in the championship. And we all know once you go down, it's very, very, very hard to come back up. Very, very, very hard to come back up. So, final decision. My 3rd team to get relegated will be Cardiff City, along with Fulham and Huddersfield. I think Burnley, Southampton, Brighton, Newcastle, Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, they will all survive, and we will see them back in the Premier League next season. Guys, the teams coming up. Who will be the teams coming up? Norwich City doing really, really well. I'm going off the top of my head right now. Leeds as well doing really, really well. But there's also Sheffield United. Sheffield United and West Bromwich Albion all, you know, searching for that, you know, let's say 2nd spot. Because Norwich, they are like 81 points, like last time I checked, 5 points ahead of the 2nd place team. But we never know what can happen in the last, let's say, 6 games or 7 games or so in the championship. We can see teams, you know, bypass each other. But right now, it looks like Norwich City and Leeds are going to come up, along with one of West Bromwich Albion, Sheffield United. Then there's Aston Villa, Derby County. There's, you know, Bristol City in the hunt as well. And a few other teams, you know. Remember, from 3 to 6 will be in the playoffs. They will play, you know, like a semi-final and a final. And the top 2 teams will come up. So we just have to wait and see who those teams will be in the 2019-20 season. Guys, let me know who you think will get relegated from the Premier League this season, along with Fulham and, you know, Huddersfield Town, who already basically relegated. Guys, I just wanted to talk about this, a little, discussion-based style video, just, looking at the table and just talking about, the relegation. It's not really a big relegation battle like what happened last season, but, Cardiff still has a chance. They still has a chance. If Cardiff gets relegated, there won't be any teams from Wales in the Premier League next season, because I think it was Cardiff and, Swansea are the best teams in Wales. So that's not a good look. Swansea struggling in the Championship. Only West Brom trying to come back up after getting relegated last season. Stoke not doing well at all. We remember when Sunderland got relegated to the Championship. They then got relegated, to the First Division again. So it's like Division 1. So it's not fun being relegated. Man City got relegated a few times as well to the Championship, then to the third tier as well. So it could happen to anyone, but, to the fans, it's never an easy thing. So this is the Premier League relegation, discussion. I may do another video too if it gets tighter at the back end. But for now, that's all I have. Let me know who you think will get relegated in the comment section down below. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. Leave a like for the video. Share it if you please. And until next time, peace out. Rich Squad.